Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's my opponent to go first. I have a rack which is balanced, but with a lot of heavy tiles. I don't think I have a bingo, but I do have the fish suffix. 22 points for my opponent. Now the V is the least bingo-friendly tile, so how can I get rid of that? Well, this is going to be tricky. I've got a double row in row E. Can't see anything which goes through that. I'd like to hold on to the S. So what about playing 5 somewhere? Well, what I can do is vifter across here. This is a very difficult rack to, or a difficult rack rather, to see the best play. But this looks good enough. It's 20 points and the rack leave is fine. A lot of vowels. I think I drew only vowels. Ohia is good. O-H-I-A. That would sort the rack out. Now I'm looking in row E to see if I can play across the top of vifter. So I play beginning with the H above the I. And I can play Heil in that spot. Slightly vowel heavy leave, but the score is going to be good. Planar does not take an S after it, I don't think. I've got 5 vowels. There are some 5 vowel bingos, but I don't think I have one. There's a new double lane in column 5, but that's through a vowel, so I'm unlikely to have anything with this vowel heavy rack. I'm just looking around to see if I can play Ohia. I can play that in column 9, making pi and la. Only 17 points, but I think I'm going to struggle to score with this rack, unless the Heil spot stays available. That would be over 30. Well, that goes. My opponent has opened a couple of new spots. 3 in fact. There's the Z, so column 6. I can place my O or my A next to the Z. There's the triple word score at H1 for a 5-letter play ending in G. And there's column 5 where Ohia plays and Oi. Ohia and Oi is 19 points. What about the other 2? I can't see anything which ends in the G. I can't see anything apart from oaf in column 6, which is 17 points. So I think Ohia is best, and this is going to inhibit my opponent's use of the triple word square at H1. This doesn't feel great, though, keeping a vowel-heavy rack with duplicate vowels and placing an I next to a premium square and getting only 19 points. So, can I do better? I'm just wondering about hoys down here. It burns the S, but let's see what the score is. 35 points, I think that's worth doing. Duplicate tiles in the D and the E. So what can I do with this? Although there are duplicate tiles, all the tiles on this rack are bingo-y. I've got the DE prefix and ED suffix. So through a T, I would have detained, I think. Yeah. But the floater on the board at the moment, the most useful one is the R of planar. Can't see anything through that. So, what about the Z spot? I could play def. Well, that's pretty good because it sorts out all of the duplicates. And it leaves a good rack leave of DEIN. Only 19 points though. I do have the IN for going in front of the G in row H. But I can't see anything ending ING. And the G's also in a spot where I could play a 6-letter word ending AGE. But I can't see anything which works there either. So at the moment, def is what I've spotted. And I also have dead in column 10, playing parallel to Hoy's, which stays available. Now my opponent provides an E as a floater, that's no good. And there is an RI combination in row I for a 9-letter play, but I don't think, well, I don't think I have anything there. So let me see what this scores. £24 points. And def, 19 points. Is the D worth 5 points? Well, it's pretty useful because it hooks guide. And it stops the rack leave being vowel heavy, so it's going to encroach on those 5 points. I think I prefer this. Well, what about undead? Across here, let's see what this scores. This is going to open the board wide open. But no problems with doing that if the score is enough, and 30 points is. That's the risk of keeping 2 vowels, a really vowel heavy rack. So I'm looking at available consonants to sort this out, but I know that I can sort it out of my own volition with EAU or AUE. Well, great bingo by my opponent, 86 points. And I'm not in a position to reply, and I'm 70 points behind. But the board's open, so I'd like to keep it open. Now, can I use the F in column 6? Well, I've got leaf, but I don't want to keep 4 vowels, including a U. Now, I have Orlei, which I could play in column 4. Or, better still, down here. Now, am I confusing this with Orlei? Something about this doesn't look quite right. It'll be annoying if this is good, but I'm not going to play it because there's something about it doesn't look right. How annoying. If it's good, I think this is definitely the play. But I don't think it is. Now, what about the G of Zingy? Have I got anything in row H? The G's not quite in the right spot for league. So what about playing EAU down here? Only 13 points. And it's a vowel-heavy rack leave. Maybe I should change. If that's better than changing, it's only by a small amount. I've got 13 minutes left, half the tiles have gone. I'd like to keep the board open. Okay, I'm going to change. Certainly keep an E. And that's all. Well, pretty good. I draw an S and a blank. I have Sergeant in row K. Not quite a double-double. And that also plays in column 13. Well, hopefully one of those will remain available. Now, do I have any other bingos? I don't think I have anything ending in C in row A. Now, there is the O of keratoid where my J could go. Unfortunately, I don't have an O. Because if I could get that J on that spot to score twice and retain the blank, it might be better than bingoing. Wow, great play by my opponent, 94 points. And he has taken both of my sergeant spots, so I'm going to have to find a bingo elsewhere. And I think I can do that, but not scoring as much with Nartjas in column 14, placing the N next to the O. Doesn't even get doubled, which is a shame. Now, do I have a 7-letter bingo? I only need to consider the blank as a vowel. Can't see anything with the A, or an E, or an I, or an O, or a U. I would have jointers through an O or an I. None of those are available. So the best I've seen is Nartjas down here. The only bingo I've seen, in fact. And it's not going to score very much, which is a shame since I'm burning the blank. I note that my opponent's played the other blank. And this is quite dangerous down here, this spot here. So 73 points. Well, we'll find out later if there was a better bingo. Not good. I'm 100 points behind, and I really need a bingo fairly rapidly, but I'm not going to get one with this rack. I also don't have a high-scoring tile to take advantage of column 15 if that stays available. I can't score much in column 8. I note that WAAC is good, W-A-A-C. Can't see anywhere great to play that. So this is not good. I could play cow in column 10, but I'm keeping a vowel-heavy rack leave. There are 19 vowels left out of 43 tiles, so slightly under half. I'm looking at column 8 to see if I've got a play at the bottom beginning TW, and I can't see one. I want to keep the board open because I do need a bingo to catch up. Now, what about the Z spot? Can't see anything through that. 36 points for my opponent. He's continuing to score well. And annoyingly, the hot spot in column 15 stays available, but I can't take advantage of it. What's the best I can do in that spot? Well, not very much. TOEA, and that's keeping both of my high-scoring tiles. Now, what about placing... Well, I can play a wee across here, and this is going to have some merit. It sorts out the vowel consonant imbalance. It scores quite well, 28 points, and it takes out this hot spot for my opponent. So I think that's fine. A wee takes an L after it. Borosite in row O. Excellent. Well, hopefully that stays available. Unfortunately, it doesn't play in row B because it's inhibited by hoys. Now, do I have an alternative bingo? Probably not. There are limited bingo lanes on this board. Apart from row A ending in C, there's column 12 ending in D. And then the floaters entwine. I'm 100 points behind and my opponent is on turn. So I really need Borosite to stay available. Only 29 tiles in the bag. Now, what if that is blocked? What do I do? I don't have an L for our wheel, although I note there are 3 L's unplayed. It would be good to play in row H onto the G, because that's going to open up 3 new floaters. If I had an E, I could have played Borage. I could play Craig, C-R-A-I-G. 27 points. That's going to keep the B, which is my least bingo-y tile. Q and the X still unplayed. And 3 U's. So there could be a good score available with a Q and a U later. Now, do I have a B play onto the G in row H? Well, not that I can see. My opponent's taking a while over his move. Not sure what that indicates. No blanks out there. Remaining tiles fairly bingo-y. Now the E of Keratoid is available for my B, but if I play down column 14, I'm taking out the C as a floater for a bingo, but I'm not sure quite how useful that is. It's almost always going to feature in the IC ending word, but that's quite restrictive. Great, Borosite remains available. Good score again for my opponent, so he maintains his lead. But if I'm going to have any hope of winning, I need to have a bingo, and that's exactly what I do have. And I note that my I here is available for the X, but the C stops it being used twice. So I'm still 49 points behind with my opponent on turn. So I'm really a bingo behind and only 19 tiles in the bag. Now through a B I would have Haute Bois, but my B of Borside isn't available. I've got the out prefix. Can't see anything onto the C of Keratoid or the D of Undead. The Borisite floaters are not particularly useful apart from the R. I don't have anything onto that. My opponent's player of cans has taken out the Awil hook. Now I do have some good letters with the S and the T. So I need to get rid of the U and the H. And I can play Hun in row N, Hun, High and Ut, which is going to score about 30 points. Or I could play Hutier in the same spot to get rid of some more vowels. 11 vowels left out of 26 tiles, slightly under half. Huier is good, but I note that I have the final A, and the A is a bingo-y tile. But there are 4 O's left, so ideally I'd play the O and the U, but in order to get a good score I probably have to play off the H as well. And HOU doesn't make a 3-letter word. I could play hour in row C, but that's only 14 points. And I can't use the triple letter square above the I of Borisite to play off H, O and U. I'm looking in row H to see if I got anything through the G of Zingy. Can't see anything. Now, do I play Hutiers and OH? 35 points. Well, it's tempting. That's half a bingo. I'm 80 points behind. That would, if I scored 35, I'd be 42 points behind. And by playing off 6 tiles, I'm increasing my chances of drawing a Q and a U. And a note, row B is available for a 6-letter play, placing the Q on that triple letter square at B10. The board itself is very limited for bingos now, just the D of Undead and the R of Borisite. So I shouldn't be solely focused on bingoing. So what I'm thinking about doing is Hutiers. That doesn't feel great. Generally when you're behind you want to play off just a few tiles. But the score is good. And it's denying my opponent this spot. And playing off 6 tiles does increase my chances of drawing the Q. Ordinarily, you don't want the Q, but in this particular position, the Q with the U is a good tile to have. Not only is there the row B spot across here, but there's also the row L spot, placing the Q here, across here for a 5-letter play. Well, I don't draw it. In fact, I don't have a great rack at all. But I'm only 42 points behind. But if my opponent scores 20 or 30, I am 60 or 70 points behind. And there's only 9 tiles in the bag, so my position is looking grim. And my opponent continues to score well. He's having a really good game. And he's played off 5 tiles. There's only 4 in the bag. So I'm looking to play off 3 tiles. And probably VOE is going to be best. It retains the U in case I draw the Q. It leaves one in the bag, and ESTU has some bingoiness about it. So where can I play? Well, let me just be sure I don't have a bingo. I've got the out prefix through an R. I would have out serve. I don't have anything onto the C of keratoid. Don't have anything through the D of undead. Xylol provides two new floaters, the X and the Y. Don't have anything onto the X or the Y. So I'm looking at playing VOE or Evo somewhere. So I could play, well, I could play over in row C, but that inhibits the good Q lane in row B and the D floater of undead. I could play Veggio in row H. Looking at the score, I'm 90 points behind, so I'm pretty doomed. But however doomed one is, there is still a winningest play, and that's what I'm looking to find. Well, what about Poov? It is taking out the D, which is a shame. But looking at the remaining tiles, there probably aren't many bingos going through that D. But I am keeping the Q lane open. 20 points. I don't draw the Q. My opponent's probably got it with the U. I'm 70 points behind. I do not have a bingo. Even if I did, it probably wouldn't be enough to win. 34 points for my opponent. I can see what he's got left. I don't think he's going out in one. Now, am I sure I don't have anything through the X or the Y Xylol? Don't think I do. In which case, obtuse is going to be fairly good. My opponent has no high-scoring tiles. I don't need to worry about the O being over a triple letter square. $29 points, retaining the E. I could probably get more points if I retained two tiles. And it would be good also to place my S over this I. Or better still, why not just play Buteo across here, retaining the S? I've got 4 minutes left. 32 points. So I've got ES. That is probably better than just E. So I've got sex in column 1. ES, O and L's in row M. Okay, so I've got 4 minutes to find the best spot for ES. The game is lost. I can play So in column 13, So and Poovs. I cannot. I've got ES, not SO. So ES. Just scanning down the board. I don't think keratoid takes an S. If it does, ERS would be available in row I. Xylol does take an S, but I can't play the E with it. Sex is no longer available in column 1. Well, I thought this was a good play, keeping ES, and then I would have options. But there's not very much available. So I've got C down here. 11 points. 3 minutes left. Is there anything better than that? Well, not that I can see, unless keratoids is good. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game, which he does. And the final score, 375 to me, 443 to my opponent, a winning margin of 68 points. So, well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. Invalid words played. OT. Gosh. Okay, well, I've no idea where that happened. I will wait to see. Now, this was my opponent's opening rack. He played planar. Lifter was my play. That looks best. My opponent's rack. He played zingy. This is where I played hoys. And that looks best. My opponent's rack. He played guide. Now here, what did I do? I played undead for 30. The highest scoring play there. Yeah, I think that's pretty close. Deigned maybe at L10. Well, that's got a better rack leave, but it's more dangerous. So I think undead is fine. Great bingo by my opponent. Keratoid. Horrible rack here. I think this is where I changed. But I could have played Haulier across here. Wow. And great, Orlei obviously wasn't good, otherwise it would have appeared down here. But Haulier is certainly better than changing. But looking at these remaining ones, they're all keeping 3 vowels or 3 vowels in a consonant, or scoring very little. So apart from Haulier, I think changing probably okay. Although maybe 19 points keeping EIU. Where's that? EALE down here. Yeah, possibly better than changing. Now, this was my opponent's rack. He must have had a multitude of bingos. He did, and he found the best one, Epithema. So great spot by my opponent. Now, what did I miss here? I spotted Narch G's, but I was fairly sure there were options. And there wasn't. There were no other bingos. What I could have done is scored 33 points less and played Jest down here in column 10 alongside Hoys, keeping the blank. The blank's usually worth about 25 points, so probably not much between those two moves, but N and R don't have a great deal of synergy. I prefer Nartjes. Still haven't come across the phony OT. Now this is my opponent's rack. He played Twine. Now here, what did I do? Gosh, H1. Cowage was available across here. That would have been pretty good with a good rack leave. Instead I played Aoi with a decent rack leave, but 11 points less. Now this was my opponent's rack. He played Cans, nice spot. And here I had Boracite, which must be best, and is. My opponent's rack. What did he do here? Ah, this was the OT play. Agony. Gosh. How significant was that in the scheme of things? So at this point, my opponent was 49 points ahead. If I challenged that off, gosh, I could have halved that. Painful. Okay. Watch. Look at all the words your opponent plays and challenge any phonies. Anyway, back to the game. This was my rack. I had Hutier at L1. Ah, well, I didn't play that. I played Hutiers for 35 across here. Well, I think Hutier across here, probably better. It's providing a couple of floaters, and if my opponent plays down onto the H, he's opening up column 2 as a bingo lane, so I prefer Hutier at L1. My opponent's rack, he played Xylol for a lot. And this is now the end of the game. I'm four tiles in the bag. I'm 90 points behind. Zeolite, E5. Oh, wow, look at that. That is such a hard word for a human to spot and easy for a computer. But Just did not consider that as a lane which I needed to consider. But there were 42 points there. It wouldn't have made a difference to the result, but it's a nice play. It would have been nice to have seen it. Instead, I played Pooh for 20, and the rack lead was pretty good. This was my opponent's rack. What did he do? Did he play Feek here? Yeah, he did. And now, this is right at the end. The bag's empty. My opponent's got ELRR on his rack. This is what I have. And, well, I played Beautio for 32. Could have got 3 more points for Beautios. Probably not much between those. My opponent played Rely, which was best. And then I have ES. What could I have achieved with that? Wow, C for 11 was the best. So Keratoids, not good. And C was the optimal out. So, well, pretty exciting game. I did lose by about a bingo. So I always felt that the game was not out of reach, because if I had got a bingo, I would have been back into it. Obviously annoying to overlook a phony, but that's ancient history now. All you can do with that is try and ensure it doesn't happen again. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.